Welcome back to TWIF, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special guest this week. The defending champion of one of the divisions. It's Cgauch.
What's up, man? About time I'm on here.
He has been in the league for a long time. He has a storied past, and as a player, is someone who has one of the most prevalent storylines throughout the league. He has a lot of luck. He has a lot of comeback, crazy wins. He drafts in kind of unorthodox ways, light on running back. So it'll be interesting to have his take this week. We're going to start with the uninteresting, the Week 5 review. We have me taking down Disco, who started 2 inactive people for the second week in a row. What do you think about that, Cgauch?
I mean, it's disappointing because the first season he came in, I think I beat him in the Super Bowl, or he went like undefeated almost to the Super Bowl, and he used to be really good at fantasy, and now he's just super inactive, and it's annoying. Like, I hate having inactive people in our league.
I really hope he gets it together this week. Then moving over to Spencer versus Lily, another boring game, really, as predicted. Lily almost getting her score doubled. Spencer looks strong. He has running back depth. He plays matchups well. He plays the waiver wire well. And Lily's team, she's struggled, had injuries, and really hasn't done anything at all. And she's relying on Des Bryant, who's done nothing this year. What do you think about Lily's team? She's in our division.
I thought she started out with a really good team. It kind of sucks that Romo's made of glass, so Dez not really getting that many throws from Dak. And then, of course, Dez hurt his kneecap. I don't know. I think he might be coming back this week, but overall, her team has Aaron Rodgers and Isaiah Crowell. He's a pretty consistent back. He didn't do very good Week 5, but other than Aaron Rodgers, I don't really like her team.
I think Crowell has been her saving grace.
Yeah.
If she didn't have him, she'd probably be like historically bad. Because it was supposed to be kind of this Crowell Duke Johnson type thing, but Duke Johnson, who Cameron has really not gotten many of the touchdowns. So Crowell has had a lot of good weeks that have carried Lily's team. And I think Vincent Jackson has been god-awful. He's yet to break 5 fucking points. I mean, that's terrible. He's supposed to be the number 2 guy to Mike Evans, so Lily really isn't looking good.
But that was also another problem in college with Jameis Winston. He focused on Kelvin Benjamin and threw him the ball like every down. That's why I don't like any Bucs receivers other than Mike Evans, because he's going to get the pass 80% of the time, and then Jameis Winston tries to force throws, and he's going to throw picks. So,
moving on to One Johnny Football Please, Weston's team versus No Fried. This was a really high-scoring game. I said after week 2 that No Fried had kind of been hard done by luck because he had lost some close games, and I think in this game he's really showed off his team. Even though Steve Smith got hurt, who I got cock-blocked for by him in the waiver wire. Fitzgerald went off. Gates had a fumble but still had a touchdown. The Tampa Bay running back ran all over Carolina. Freeman looked good. Elliott looks like he's going to be potentially
Rookie of the year.
Yeah, potentially one of the best rushers all year. I'm kind of expecting him to get injured at some point, honestly, but I hope I'm wrong. And if he does not get injured, he'll probably finish the league in rushing. And of course, Brady's triumphant return against Cleveland, as I predicted. Not exactly a difficult one to predict, but he put up 400 yards. So I think No Fried looked good in his win over Weston here.
Yeah, this team looks super strong. He is a really good team, especially now that Brady's back.
Weston, I will note Weston, even though he put up a lot of points, his bench did almost nothing, so I think that stands to reason that he did a good job of plugging in the right guys. He had a couple injuries and a bye, but still. We'll move on to Cameron's team, who you beat. Now remember, last week Cameron had Julio Jones sit on his bench after he got 300 yards. That's Cameron's management for you, especially when it comes to bye weeks. Here, I would say that you beat him handily. You almost put up 100, which I think is a really solid benchmark for a strong performance. Your team was led by Ben Raplesberger, who almost got 30 points. And Bell, of course, his teammate and ally, did well. I think after Bell came back, it was really the saving grace for your team, Cgauch.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed that really bad, especially with Thomas Rawls and Arian Foster getting injured the same week. That hurt me really bad.
Cgauch, how long do you think Bell can stay healthy?
I'm hoping the whole year. I think, man, I really don't want to put like a timeline on it because then it'll happen. I'll jinx it. But I'm thinking late the season. I think he'll be good. He's going to get a big workload, but I think he'll be fine.
I've heard Spencer say that he's going to get injured, and he does have an injury history, so
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I think for your team right now, it's weak at running back, so if Bell can stay healthy, he's a huge weapon because the Steelers put up a ton of points. He catches the ball a lot too, which is a great thing to have because a lot of times those little screens will lead to touchdowns. So Bell did really well for you this week, and surprisingly, you had a lot of guys do really poorly, get under 10. Sanders was okay at 8, but then Royal with 4, Hopkins with 4. You know, really it was the Steelers leading your team to victory.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
And over on Cameron's team, he had Brandon Marshall had a good week. Julio Jones really did nothing compared to last week with his career day. Duke Johnson was a part of a horrific loss by the Browns to the Patriots. So all in all, Cameron's team looked pretty meh, I would say.
Yeah, I thought Cameron was going to come in this one and beat me, especially with the way Melvin Gordon's been playing. He still got a touchdown, but he didn't put up like 20 points like he's been doing. And then Julio Jones, shout out to that freaking Denver secondary.
And supposedly he got hurt too.
Yeah.
And I think Edelman also got hurt during the game.
Yeah, he's on limited practice right now.
So moving on to another game, we had Aaron beating the commissioner, clap for. And Rampy's team put up a decent effort, minus Victor Cruz, who put up a goose egg. Gurley continues to be pretty good for Rampy. And on the side of Kevin, he is in a bit of a predicament with Newton hurt. He did the very peculiar Newton and Romo draft strategy, which I really don't understand. Rhaegar, don't chew on that. And Crabtree did okay for him, but there was a lot of problems. The Niners got beat up pretty bad by Arizona. Cincinnati lost to Dallas. Jacob Tamey's god-awful. I mean, Deshaun Jackson really does not have a very good quarterback throwing to him, so he doesn't have a lot of explosive games like he did in Philly. I think Clap4 has some concerns here.
Yeah, I don't like the thought of I really don't like CJ Anderson either, like at running back. He did pretty good last year, but I just don't like Anderson and especially Winston. He throws too much to Mike Evans, and that's going to cost him a lot of interceptions because he tries to force the ball. Crabtree's actually having a pretty decent year. He had that one game with 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
So.
him and Amari Cooper both have been doing pretty well. I think the Raiders have kind of turned a new page, and they're pretty decent now.
And then also in the turn that Moncrief got hurt, T.Y. Hilton's starting to go off. He's getting majority of those balls again. He's starting to put up a bunch of points.
I think it's interesting for Aaron that even when the Panthers are struggling, Greg Olsen is still doing well. I mean, if you consider that Gronkowski has been what he has been this year, which is not good at all,
Yeah.
Greg Olsen has really looked good. He's had 3 weeks where he has points in the teens. So I think that's a big spot for Aaron.
I need Gronk to start doing something, man. I put all my eggs in the basket on him, drafting him early, and it's done nothing but hurt me.
Moving on to the final game of the week, we had your boy, the king of swag, Kevin Travier, got taken down by Ben, the king of funny, pretty badly here. I think Ben's team pretty much across the board, except for Kyle Rudolph, looked good, which was bizarre because Houston did lose the game pretty badly. But Matty Ice has been performing well. I think the Falcons are back to having a decent offense. They had a couple years of ineptitude. DeMarco Murray has really paid off for Ben, of course, traded Spencer for DeMarco Murray. looking back in retrospect, what do you think about that trade?
I don't remember who he trade. Who did he trade for DeMarco?
It was Ben sent Adrian Peterson and a receiver. No, and a defense, the Cardinals defense.
Oh,
And
jeez.
Spencer sent DeMarco and a receiver. But DeMarco, I mean, if you look at his stats,
Yeah,
17, 14,
DeMarco
21,
by
23.
himself was worth that,
I think DeMarco's been
especially with
really good.
AP. Yeah, he's been playing freaking good. I have him in our other league. I just traded for him, but he's been playing amazing. AP, that's very unfortunate that he got hurt.
I think it's interesting that even though the Titans aren't that explosive, they're really pounding the ground game a lot with DeMarco, so he's just stacking up yards, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they should have done last year. They last year when they got him, they didn't know what to do with him and try and just do like option plays and runs to the side and stuff. They just need to give DeMarco the ball and let him run. He's an amazing back.
So, what do you think about Kevin's team, the King overall? Because I think he got criticized a lot early on, but then had some flashes of brilliance. What do you think of it?
Phillip Rivers, he's a pretty consistently been a decent fantasy quarterback. I don't like Rashad Jennings, obviously, got 0 points. And Jeremy Hill, I drafted him last year. I don't think in our league, but I don't like the thought of having Jeremy Hill or Giovanni Bernard because they both split. They're both going to get each touchdown. Like, it's weird. And then Amendola is going to get overshadowed by Edelman every play. Odell needs to get emotional. He needs to quit being so emotional and get it back. I don't know what's going on with him.
He's broken 100 yards once, and he has 1 touchdown. He's
And
been
then
an emotional wreck.
yeah, and then he lost a fight to a kicking net, but
That was
man,
hilarious.
he's having he's not doing too great this year. Kevin's team, if like I could pick anybody from this team, I honestly wouldn't take anybody. I don't like Kevin's team
Okay, that's interesting.
other than maybe Hearns.
I think he has the Vikings defense, which is a huge asset. That's
Yeah,
like one of the best things about his team.
who predicted that them going off this year?
They've had double-digit points in every week except one, Cgauch.
Yeah, I know they're freaking good.
All right, let's move on to week 6. We'll start off with Kevin the King versus No Fried. Both teams are 2 and 3. And this is recorded on a Friday, so the roster should be pretty well set. But No Fried has an empty receiver here. But Phil Rivers already turned in a pretty average, subpar performance against Denver, who's very good. So I think Brady's probably going to at least double that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure Brady will put up a 30 points.
Rashad Jennings, I would consider him to be somewhere between worthless and god-awful. And I think Freeman is an emerging star. He looked good a couple years ago, but the Falcons had some offensive woes, but they're really kicking it into gear, and Freeman's, I think, could become one of the premier backs in the league. I give him the edge, even though he's playing Seattle in Seattle.
Yeah, the Falcons, I think, have the #1 offense right now in the league.
Ezekiel Elliott and Hill and Jennings are 2 guys who really don't get that many carries. They're not very good players. They're not a big part of their team's offense. And Elliott is becoming one of the most popular men in Dallas. So edge Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh yeah, for sure. Jeremy Hill, though, he has the most touchdowns since I think 2013, since being drafted or something like that. They were saying on ESPN. Can't remember.
Well, he has 3 this year, and he has
Yeah, he's
Giovanni
not
Bernard
playing.
to deal with.
That's what I was like so flabbergasted at that stat. I was like, "There's no way he's not playing good at all, especially this season."
I think Gio
Last
got
year.
hurt. Like, I think that's what the issue is. Bernard was hurt. I think Fitzgerald is going to have a very good game versus the Jets. So I give the advantage to him over Amendola. But Amendola's counterpart receivers are injured, so potentially Amendola could have a good day.
Yeah, I give the edge to Larry Fitzgerald as well. Chris Hogan, did you see him? Got like 100 and something receiving yards by Brady. Freaking, he came out of nowhere.
I think Brady likes to spread the ball around a lot. He doesn't really play favorites very much.
Yeah, no, Bennett stole 3 of my Gronk touchdowns. I wasn't too happy.
I'm going to assume that Brandon Cooks is going to be the selection at receiver. He was that guy, of course, that had that really good week. Everyone rushed to pick him up, and as I predicted, hasn't done shit since.
Yeah, I think he'll do good though against that Carolina defense. I
They've
think
been
they
god
started
awful.
I think they started 2 rookie DBs that week against the Falcons. It looked like, and then they dropped a corner after that week. So I think Cooks will have a big week this week, at least 15, 20 points maybe.
I'll give the bedge to Odell anyway, though.
Yeah, just because he's been more consistent.
Like I think Beckham just has the potential to go off more than Cooks does.
Yeah,
Gates already turned in 1 droopy point. Witten's usually good for like 7. The thing you can say about Witten is like he's always going to be a part of the offense in some capacity, but he's not really like the Cowboys don't throw a lot of touchdowns.
yeah,
So I edge Witten.
yeah. I like Witten in this matchup.
I give the edge to Sproles. He's playing bad Washington defense, and the Panthers have not looked good. What do you think, Cgauch?
And Sproles versus Artis Payne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sproles against Washington.
Justin Tucker and Graham Gano. I think Graham Gano has lost a lot of value recently with the Panthers struggling, so I'll edge Tucker, the UT native.
Yeah, Carolina just can't get the ball going. I don't know what's going on, especially now that they have Kelvin Benjamin back. I figured their offense would be better than ever.
Yeah.
But Justin Tucker has always been one of those consistent kickers, though, to like get some points because Baltimore can always drive the ball with Flacco.
Yeah, and I think Baltimore has some trouble in the red zone, and I think Justin Tucker, as far as like actual talents, like accuracy and power, he's one of the best in the league. Yeah, right up there with Dan Bailey, I would say.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
really, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I really give the edge to No Fried here, and I don't think it would
Yeah,
be close.
yeah, I think he'll get. I think Kevin's going to get destroyed because his best player is out this week. The Vikings defense.
Yeah. And Phil Rivers, whenever your quarterback plays early and turns in such an average, kind of bland, mediocre, boring performance like that, and you're playing someone like No Fried, I mean, look at his top 4. Brady, Freeman, Elliott, Fitz. That's a
Yeah.
really strong top 4. Like, you're going to have a huge week from Rivers to keep up with that.
Well, I don't know why he would start Phillip Rivers this week, anyways, against the Denver, the number 1 defense in the league. You could make an argument for the Vikings, but I wouldn't start a quarterback against Denver's defense, especially when you have Tyrod Taylor playing San Francisco. He does that like every fantasy year. He always starts the wrong quarterback.
Interesting. I think that's a good point with Taylor having the really easy matchup at home against the Niners. And remember, Kaepernick is supposedly starting, so there's a chance that the 49ers offense is going to be even worse, so he could be on the field a lot.
I thought you were going to say even better.
And the thing is, like, Kaepernick was never that good.
Yeah, I never liked him.
And he doesn't really. I mean, they're going to run the ball anyway and be mediocre. So I don't think Kaepernick's going to have much effect. But if they get lucky and win, he's going to beat Dick Rhodes such an insane amount. It's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, he'll be all over ESPN, I'm sure, if they find out a way to win.
ESPN sure does love talking about Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Clap 4 and Cameron. So father-son matchup.
This is my favorite.
I honestly think that the Cowboys are going to fall to Green Bay, and I think it's going to bring a lot of Cowboy fans back down to earth about Romo and Dak. But I honestly thought the same thing about Cincy. If the Cowboys beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field this week, people will anoint Prescott and like basically never care about Romo again, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like this is a huge like Judgment Day type matchup for Green Bay versus Dallas because Green Bay is allowing like 40-something or 60-something rushing yards a game. So they'll be able to put Zeke in the light a little bit and see how good he really is, especially against this Green Bay defense.
I give the edge to Prescott, even though Cam Newton's playing a weak defense and it's Cam Newton. I mean, the Panthers have looked god-awful and the Cowboys have looked good. I think Zeke will do pretty well, but I think the Cowboys will lose. So I'll
I
edge,
don't know.
or I'll Dak, excuse me, not Zeke. I'll edge Dak.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go with Cam Newton on this one. They're playing New Orleans. I feel like that's going to be a high-scoring game. I feel like this is the week Carolina figures it out. And then we get that Marshall text in the group text saying Carolina's going back to the Super Bowl.
Oh, baby. Well, they have to get it together sooner rather than later because they look awful.
Yeah, they're atrocious. They're not playing very well.
Jamal Charles versus Duke Johnson. I mean, I've already given my thoughts on old Duke Johnson. I think Charles has the clear edge here, especially against Cgauch.
Yeah, I'm going to always give Charles the edge. I love Jamal Charles. I'm a Kansas City fan, so I like Charles over Duke Johnson for sure.
We'll just skip the running backs. Julio Jones versus Deshaun Jackson. I think Jones has a clear edge here. Jackson doesn't really play on an explosive offense. Jones does. What do you think?
I don't know. That's kind of hard to pick because it's Julio Jones, but he's going against the Legion of Boom, and Richard Sherman's playing really good this year. But I don't know. Richard Sherman normally doesn't cover the number one receiver, but I think Jones will still get like an 80, 90-yard game with a touchdown, I'm sure.
Cgauch, what is the Legion of Boom?
Seattle's secondary, dude.
Oh, okay. Brandon Marshall and T.Y. Hilton. Hilton looked great last week, but I think that Brandon Marshall will outperform him this week because Houston's defense has been pretty damn good.
I don't know. I like T.Y. Hilton against Houston better than Brandon Marshall against Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu.
Okay. Zach Miller and Doyle. I really don't think Doyle's going to do much. Well, I don't really like either tight end, to be honest.
Me
What do
neither.
you
I was
think,
just about
Christian?
to. I was just about to say the same thing. I don't like either of the tight ends.
I think,
Chicago's quarterback situation's screwed to hell. Doyle maybe because he has luck, but I don't like either one.
yeah, I would edge Zach Miller begrudgingly, though, if I had to pick.
Yeah.
I think Edelman here will have the clear edge with Brady back over the San Fran receiver with Kaepernick. I mean, the commish here, I think this is a real long shot, starting a San Fran receiver when Kaepernick's the quarterback. I mean, I'm really hoping and expecting Michael Crabtree will be playing flex.
For sure. He needs to be playing Kansas City.
Yeah.
That's always a good game.
Well, Cameron's kicker already put up a delicious 13 points, and Matt Nugent is playing on Cincinnati. They look pretty bad against Dallas, and New England's far better than Dallas, so clear edge to Cam's kicker here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see Nugent putting up 8 points against New England.
And then, as bad as Cincy looked last week, I'm definitely giving the Pats the edge here. I think the Niners' defense is going to be hard-pressed with Kaepernick at quarterback. It's going to be even harder than freaking usual.
Yeah, for sure. Buffalo's defense isn't looking very bad either.
All right, so what do you think about this father-son matchup, Christian? Who's going to win?
I don't know. That's a hard choice because it's all going to depend on if. Oh, never mind. Melvin Gordon's already played. I'm giving the edge to the dad here. Clap for bacon, Old Commish.
It's an interesting matchup, I think. There are a lot of variations, I would say, like close back and forths. I'm going to edge to Cameron here, though, because I think his receiving trio is going to have a big day. He also has Drew Brees playing against Carolina on his bench if he so chooses to use that, if he doesn't want to go for Dak. I think
Drew Brees would probably be the best choice right now, especially since Carolina's defense is in shambles.
Yeah, and even if Carolina wins the game, I think it'll be 45-40. Like I think
it's a high-scoring game.
Very well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm predicting a 400-yard game by Drew Brees for sure against Carolina's trash secondary.
I'll edge Cameron, but barely.
Yeah.
Here we have you versus Disco, Ellen Active. So already, Cgauch, you're in a holy hole.
Yeah.
Benjamin got you negative. I mean, he did so poorly that he actually contributed in a negative numeric value to your fantasy football team. Like, that's how bad he was. And Emmanuel Sanders was pretty shit too. So you're going to have to dig yourself out of a hole.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about how good Denver's defense is all year, and then I freaking start Travis Benjamin against them. I don't know why I did that. I was so stupid. I should have just thrown Chris Hogan in and just hoped for 5 points.
Why do you have such a light bench, Cgauch?
I have two players. I dropped two players. I can't remember who, but I have two missing, and I just can't find anybody like worth picking up. Like every time I try and get somebody off the waiver wire, somebody else gets them.
Yeah. And Eddie Royal is having injury issues, so it looks like to me that you're really depleted at receiver here. Two guys have done nothing. The third is in question. And at this point, I think you're going to have Gronk have a huge week, and you're going to have Steelers carry you through again. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. Might have to sub in Chris Hogan. Hopefully he gets another 100 yards or something. But I doubt it.
Disco has the potential for A.J. Green and Allen Robinson to go off. I mean, both of those guys are capable of putting up 20-plus point games, even though they haven't had great years this year. And I think if they do that, you're dead in the water.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jonathan Stewart, I mean, probably going to come back. Gio's going to play. Unfortunately for you, even if Disco was AFK, it looks like everyone's going to play, and like there's no buys. So I'm honestly going to edge Disco here, even though if the Steelers do really well again, you could still win.
I'm going to have to give myself the edge. I can't bet against myself.
Okay, so you have to give me a reason as to why you think you will win.
Hoping the Steelers will just put up a bunch of points against Miami, or Gronk gets like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I might have to start Andy Dalton to try and cancel out those A.J. Green points.
Yeah, honestly, I think your best bet is flipping the double Miami coin, because Miami has been pretty god-awful on defense this year. So I think you can do it, but I think Roethlisberger and Bell have to do it really big. I'm edging Disco officially, though.
Okay.
Here we have a good game, a game of the Aggies. One Johnny Football Please and Harambe's Revenge, Spencer versus Weston. Two of the teams with the most running back depth. So starting things off, Blake Bortles and Alex Smith. Smith has a good matchup, so does Bortles. I'll give the edge to Smith, though.
I don't know. I kind of like Blake Bortles against Chicago with Allen Hurts and Allen Robinson, and then also Julius Thomas at tight end. They have a good offense.
Spencer's going to be hard to stop. Bortles has quite a few weak defenses to play in a row.
Mm.
But I think that's one of those matchups where both players will do well. Mark Ingram didn't practice, and it's unfortunate for Weston because he drafted Mark Ingram, a player who I always say is shit. And Ingram has had a couple good weeks, to be fair, and Carolina would be an excellent defense for him to play against. But he's facing some injury issues, and Matt Forte and Duke Johnson and LaShawn McCoy are all healthy. So I think, really, if we look
that's David Johnson, dude.
Oh yeah, I misspoke. David Johnson for the Cardinals, the far superior one to Duke Johnson. I mean, like, if you just look at the quality of Spencer's running backs, like double running back and flex compared to Weston, I don't think there's any way that you can make an argument for Weston winning this game. I think Spencer's just going to blow him out of the water, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I think LaShawn McCoy is tied for 3rd or 2nd in the league right now for yards. So I'm predicting Spencer to destroy Weston right now.
I mean, Antonio Brown, I think, could have a 30-point day versus Miami, and that's what Weston's going to really need. But Fuller, he's on an offense that not really explosive, although he has succeeded in taking all of Hopkins' big catches, which is annoying for Hopkins owners.
Yeah, he hasn't really been doing anything this year. Hopkins hasn't.
And I think that Martellus Bennett was like ridiculously godly for Weston, but now that Gronk is back, I think Bennett's really going to fall off for Weston. So there's a lot of factors working against Weston this week, and I really think Spencer has a clear edge.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy last week with Bennett getting those 3 touchdowns. I was just sitting there watching the game, and I just see Gronk like blocking people and Bennett scoring. I was getting super mad. It was frustrating.
I think the key difference in this game is, although both of these teams have running back depth, Spencer has the kind of running backs who are a big focus of their team's offense and get touchdowns. Weston has timeshare guys that have like really good weeks and then really kind of crappy weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
Like a lot of these guys are boom or bust. They'll have like the back-to-back 12-plus point game, but then they'll have the shit week.
They're like 4 points.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at guys, I mean, and Forte's been guilty of it too, but Duke Johnson's been elite. D'Angelo Williams was great. His value, of course, has dropped off recently, but McCoy's been exceptional too. So I give the edge to my homie Spencer.
Yeah, same.
Over here, Rampy versus Lily. Lily, of course, is trying to honestly get her second win, because getting her second win will be difficult. Aaron Rodgers is playing Dallas. He'll have a great day. But Brian Hoyer is playing Jacksonville. I give the edge to Rodgers, though. I mean, Orlando Scandrick and Brandon Carr versus Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, you have to give him the edge against anybody other than Brady, maybe. And it depends on who they're playing. Like, Aaron Rodgers is just one of those guys. He's going to score points no matter what.
One interesting narrative about the Cowboy game, I think, is recently the defense has legitimately been a little bit better. Less terrible, I think, would be a better word.
Yeah.
But I think that if the Cowboys beat Green Bay this week, and whether it's Dak, I don't think Dak will ever look great. I think Dak consistently does his job. But if like the defense gets a couple lucky picks, or Zeke has a big day and the Cowboys somehow win, it's going to be pandemonium in Dallas, because I don't think anyone is expecting them to win this game.
Yeah, Twitter will be blowing up if Dallas wins that game against Green Bay. They'll be all over everything for a week.
I think that LeGarrette Blount is in a position to shine with Brady being back, and I would give him the edge over Frank Gore, who's been pretty good. I mean, it's Frank Gore. Like, he pounds a touchdown in and once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I like LeGarrette Blount in this matchup against Frank Gore, because even if like they're in the red zone, they're gonna give Blount the ball. Like, Brady does not care how he scores; he just wants points on the freaking board. Blount's gonna get a touchdown for sure. He consistently puts up points.
I would give Todd Gurley the edge over Crowell, because Tennessee's defense is actually pretty decent, and I think the Browns, they had a lot of hype. You know, that's the thing. The Browns usually have one or two players to get people excited. You know, Josh Cribbs was that guy for a long time. They would run him in that corny little Wildcat set called the Flash Package. Then it was RG3, and then Josh Gordon. But then none of it ever really works out. And then the Browns are just shit.
Yeah, every time. Every year. They're like, oh, we're going to win the division or something stupid. And then they just consistently trash every year. But I like Isaiah Crowell. He normally gets points. He's a good fantasy back. Like, they give him the ball.
Yeah, Crowell is like the one redeeming thing about the Browns, I would say. Because the Browns, they're good enough to score 1 or 2 touchdowns a game. And they usually do kind of a long extended drive, get to the red zone, and then just run it in with Crowell. That's usually how they score their 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they just have to punch it in.
Yeah. So I think Crowell, like I said earlier in the video, is good, but as the Browns overall or not, I edge Gurley.
Yeah, I like Gurley against Detroit.
Is that Demaryius Thomas? Yes.
Yeah.
Demaryius Thomas had had a fumble too, 1.5 points. And Aaron has this guy named Cameron Meredith. He had a very good week last week, and I think Rampy's kind of flipping a coin here, perhaps a bit tired of old Vicky Cruz, who put up a goose egg last week and has only caught 1 touchdown. So I don't really know what to say. Rampy might try to put Tavon Austin in or something. What do you think?
Why not Doug Baldwin?
Why not Doug Baldwin? That is a good question. I think Doug Baldwin would also be a superior choice. I don't know if he's going to start the Meredith guy or what.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs to sub in Doug Baldwin for sure, especially over that dude. Chicago's quarterback situation right now is just trash.
let's see. Thomas. Michael Thomas, some shitter for the Saints who like gets a touchdown once in a blue moon. Doesn't have much to compete with. The old Tyrell Williams, like the third target for Phil Rivers. I'm not even going to dignify this matchup with the review.
It's understandable. I think Cooks is going to have a big week, so I don't see Fleener or Thomas doing anything at all.
That's interesting. I don't ever see Fleener doing anything ever because he's garbage. He's also facing Greg Olsen, who's exceptionally talented. And
yeah, he's really good.
He has been getting he's been getting a lot of looks, despite the Panthers being dog shit. So, Edge Olsen. Sanu versus that Christine Michael. Yeah, Christine Michael. Edge Michael, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. We don't even need to discuss that. That's for sure.
Sanu basically just has had 1 week, and that's it.
Yeah.
Gostkowski versus Boswell. I think the Steelers are just going to shit all over Miami, dude, and it's not going to be close. So I think there is a chance you could win, but I also edge Boswell.
Yeah, Boswell for sure. They're going to score too many points against Miami.
Both kickers are going to go into double digits, I say, though.
Yeah.
And Chiefs versus Oakland. How do you think? You're a Chiefs fan. What's going to happen in that game?
Man, I think Justin Houston's back this week. Is that what they were saying? I think he's coming back this week. The Chiefs had a really good defense last year, and they've been doing pretty good. But Derek Carr is he's like the quarterback that has like a mediocre first half and then just like goes off in the third and fourth quarter majority of the time. But I like the Chiefs defense against Oakland. I think they'll shut them out because Marcus Peters and the secondary have been playing good. Eric Berry. I think they'll just be all over him.
Any chance Lilly plugs in Dez here?
I wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion. Okay, finally, what I would consider to be one of the biggest rivalries in the league, me versus Ben.
Yep.
Okay, before we get into the Cgauch, what is your favorite rivalry in the league?
I've kind of always liked ours because you always say I'm lucky in fantasy, and yet I consistently beat you.
That is a
so
really
I love
good one
our
too.
rivalry.
That is a really good one.
But it's either ours or Cameron's and the commissioner, his dad. I like the father and son battle.
I'm glad we got to review that one then. Derek Carr and Matty Ice. I think Derek Carr and Matty Ice are both good. I give the edge to Matty Ice though.
Yeah, same against Seattle's defense, but yeah, I like Matty Ice against the Legion of Boom better than I like Derek Carr against Kansas City.
I think another good matchup, Lamar Miller is facing off against Indy, who's not that good. But Ryan Matthews also has a good matchup versus Washington. I edge Matthews there.
Yeah, Ryan Matthews is one of those guys I'm like, every year I just don't like him. Like, I don't feel like he'll do anything, and then he'll have big weeks, and it's annoying.
He gets hurt usually.
Yeah, made of glass.
DeMarco Murray is going to run all over Cleveland, and it's going to be filthy. I mean, I give him the edge over Hyde, who has old Kaepernick back there. You know, I mean, edge Murray by a mile.
Oh, yeah. Bold prediction. Murray's going to put up 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Hopkins has been pretty bad because that other guy, what is his name, has been taking all of his catches, and Jordy Nelson's facing the likes of OS, the tattooed armed Orlando Scandrick, and Brandon Carr. There's a damn good chance we'll reel in a couple, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Jordy Nelson's always been except for last year, obviously he got hurt, but he's always the year before, I remember him almost getting a touchdown every game. Aaron Rodgers loves him, and I don't feel like DeAndre Hopkins has been playing bad. I think it's their quarterbacks have just been playing like shit. And it's not really fair to Hopkins. He had a huge year last year, and now he's just silent. Nobody's hearing anything. But I'm definitely giving the edge to Nelson for sure against Dallas.
I think that Jarvis Landry has been a part of an offense that has been a bit hit or miss, and I give the edge to Cooper, who has been part of an offense that has looked good.
Yeah, I like Cooper way better than Landry. Landry gets he gets those little under routes and then big yards off of them sometimes, but Amari's just consistently he'll get yards.
And the thing
He's a
to
better receiver, I
the,
feel like.
the thing to be said about Cooper is whenever he doesn't get a lot of points, it's Crabtree. So it's not like the offense just sucks. Like,
Yeah, it's like one of them are just getting open and they're just getting the touchdown.
because the problem is whenever Landry doesn't put up points, it's because the Dolphins are getting their heads canned in, and he doesn't even have the chance to be productive. I think that Delaney Walker will get less points than Henry, who pleasantly put up a nice 14 for me already. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Delaney Walker over Henry, even though Henry had a pretty big game. I like Mariota tight end quite a bit.
Do you think Kelvin Benjamin will do better than Reddick? I mean, Reddick's had a couple big games. He's one of those boomer bust guys.
Yeah, I feel like Carolina and New Orleans is going to be a high scoring game. Both their defenses are trash, and even if Drew Brees is going off, Cam Newton has to if they want to win. It's like he doesn't have a choice to play good or not. Like they have to play good this week against the New Orleans offense.
Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to Benjamin. I think that even though the Carolinas look pretty bad, he'll probably get a touchdown this week, I would say.
Yeah.
Sturgis, a backup kicker, he's playing Washington, so that's kind of why I picked him up. But Janikowski is one of the greats, and he's playing against Kansas City. I give the edge to Sturgis, though, because I think Philly will have a good day versus Washington.
Yeah, I agree. I like Sturgis better. I just feel like Oakland's not going to do much against Kansas City. I'm sure Amari Cooper will maybe get like a touchdown, but I don't see them putting up more than 14 points against Kansas City.
Tyler Effort, by the way, can go fuck himself.
Oh my gosh!
And just like he'll be back week 5, and like here I am.
Well, he hurt his ankle. He hurt his ankle like 2 or 3 days before the game he was supposed to return. So now he's out. I think 1 more week.
Yeah, that deadline just keeps moving back.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I think that the Panthers, I might even want to fucking switch out the Panthers defense. My lord, that game's going to be a shit show. Give the edge to the Eagles.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a more low-scoring game. Panthers and New Orleans, they're going to score a lot of points.
Okay, who do you think's going to win? Because I think it's close.
I don't know. I see you winning this one because Henry put up 14 points, and that's huge, like especially at the tight end position. Delaney Walker, he's going to have a good game, but I don't see Hopkins or Riddick like scoring enough points to like supplement it and help him out to get past it. Because I feel like a bunch of your players are going to have big games.
One thing I'm a bit worried about is if you were to plug in Randall Cobb over Reddick, because Cobb, although not that good, he's playing Dallas. So
I think he's out this week, or no, he's limited practice. I don't know.
If he does play, I think that if you're going to fucking draft Randall Cobb, then you want to start him against Dallas.
Yeah, I'd probably start Cobb over Hopkins this week. I don't like I said, the quarterback situation in Houston is just bad. I don't like Hopkins this year.
I think Jordy Nelson will lead me to victory this week. I think he's just going to make a joke of the Cowboys secondary.
Him or Benjamin, yeah. They're going to put up some points.
And if I win this game, Ben and I will both have very good records.
What would your record be?
4-2. Basically, it's Spencer and Ben have the best teams, and then there's quite a few people at 3-2.
Yeah, I think I'm 2-3. I'm not playing good. It's kind of annoying.
2-3.
I like how to wait out injuries with Gronk and Bell.
Yep.
Freaking stupid.
All right, well, that's the episode. Cgauch, any closing thoughts, buddy?
I feel like I'm glad to be here, but I feel like it took too long, especially winning the Super Bowl and being in it last year. I feel like it was just too long. I hope we get to do it again though soon.
All right, well, peace out, everyone. Make sure you subscribe and like.